This isn't just theory. This is the same thinker who was excommunicated from his community at 23 for questioning everything, from the idea of a personal God to the rules society tried to force on him. He paid the price for his radical honesty, but he also found a way to live with unshakable calm. What if true peace doesn't come from changing the world, but from changing how you see it? Stay with me, and you'll discover the first simple question Spinoza asked to stop this cycle of misery. If you're tired of wasting energy on things you can't control, you're about to learn why acceptance might be the most powerful tool you're not using. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Let's get to the heart of the matter. Why does fighting reality leave you feeling so miserable? Spinoza's answer is blunt. Most of your suffering comes from resisting how things are. Every time you tense up because something didn't go your way, you're not just reacting to the situation. You're fighting a losing battle against the facts of existence. Picture yourself in a traffic jam, your grip tightening on the wheel, horn blaring, frustration building as if sheer willpower might clear the road. But the cars don't move, and your anger changes nothing. All that energy spent fighting what is, gone, wasted. This is the trap. Resisting reality drains you, and Spinoza saw this as a fundamental error. We're conditioned to believe the world should match our desires. We want the job that fulfills us, the relationship that never falters, a life free from inconvenience. We replay conversations wishing we'd said something different, and stew over setbacks as if the universe should apologize. But the world doesn't bend to our wishes. Spinoza argued that this refusal to accept reality is what keeps us locked in a cycle of frustration. The more we insist that life should be different, the more we suffer. Look around and you'll see this everywhere. The person in the next car, seething because the light won't change. The friend who can't scroll through their feed without feeling bitter about someone else's luck. It's the same pattern, pouring energy into hating a reality that won't budge. The weather ruins your plans, the promotion goes to someone else, and suddenly it feels personal, as if the universe singled you out. But nothing changes by resisting. The circumstance remains, and you're left with the emotional fallout. Here's the truth. Humans have always survived by adapting, not by fighting what they can't control. Modern psychology echoes Spinoza. People who lean into acceptance report lower anxiety and more satisfaction. It's not about giving up. It's about redirecting your energy. When you accept what's unchangeable, you free up resources to focus on what actually matters. Think of it like emotional aikido, using the momentum of life's challenges to your advantage instead of bracing for impact and exhausting yourself. But Spinoza's idea of acceptance is often misunderstood. He wasn't telling you to surrender or become passive. He insisted that knowledge is the key to freedom. When you understand why things happen, you stop feeling like a victim. You become someone who navigates life with clarity, not someone swept along by frustration. Imagine you're in a rowboat and the current suddenly changes. You can fight the river, paddle furiously and go nowhere, or you can learn how the current works and use it to steer yourself to safety. That's what Spinoza meant. Work with the flow of reality, not against it. Think about how much lighter life feels when you stop arguing with circumstances you can't change. Every time you shift your focus from what's outside your control to what you can actually influence, you reclaim a bit of your power. You wouldn't argue with gravity or stand in disbelief when something falls, yet emotionally, we do this all the time, resisting things that are inevitable and then wondering why we're exhausted. If you're worried that acceptance means abandoning your goals, Spinoza would disagree. He would say you become more powerful once you stop wasting energy on the impossible. When you recognize that setbacks, disappointments, and unpredictability are part of the natural order, you stop letting them control you. That energy can be used for real change, learning new skills, building better habits, or taking action where you actually have a say. Spinoza's genius was in connecting acceptance to understanding the deeper laws of reality. He argued that suffering isn't punishment. The universe isn't targeting you. It's simply following its own rules. The sooner you grasp this, the easier it is to move forward with a clear mind instead of fighting invisible enemies. So next time you feel that familiar surge of frustration, pause and ask yourself, am I resisting something that just is? If so, consider what you could do with that energy instead. Acceptance isn't weakness, it's the first step to real strength. It's about seeing things as they are, letting go of illusions, and focusing on what's possible from here. And this leads to an even bigger question. If the universe isn't out to get you, what is it really doing? Maybe it's time to rethink how you see the world's rules and your place within them. Here's a shift in perspective that Spinoza thought most people miss. The universe isn't targeting you. The events you call unfair, chaotic, or difficult, these are simply the result of the universe operating according to its own rules. For Spinoza, this wasn't just a comforting idea, it was a fundamental truth. The universe, he argued, moves by unchanging laws like gravity or motion. There's no intention, no personal vendetta, no randomness. It's cause and effect, nothing more. When we expect life to bend to our wishes, we set ourselves up for disappointment. Think about how quickly people take things personally. You lose out on a job, and the first thought is, why does this always happen to me? The weather ruins your plans, and it feels like the universe is out to spoil your day. This belief that the world should adjust itself to fit your desires makes every setback sting more. Spinoza's point is blunt. The universe doesn't care about our preferences. It's not about us. The problem is, we put ourselves at the center of every story. When reality doesn't follow our script, we feel betrayed. Let's make this concrete. Imagine you're outside on a humid day and it starts to rain. You can curse the clouds and get soaked, or you can grab an umbrella and move inside. Either way, the rain keeps falling, completely indifferent to your mood. The universe isn't singling you out. It's just following its own patterns. Spinoza believed that much of our pain comes from misunderstanding this simple fact, or refusing to accept it. Here's where Spinoza's thinking takes a radical turn. He didn't see God as a separate being who intervenes in your life or listens to your prayers. Instead, Spinoza saw God as the totality of nature's laws, the sum of everything that exists and the rules that govern it. God isn't a figure pulling strings or handing out rewards and punishments. God is the rain, the sun, your body, the laws of physics, every process unfolding in the universe. This changes the question from, why won't God fix my problems? To, how do these natural laws work, and how can I understand them? At first, this can sound cold. A universe that doesn't care about your hopes or struggles? But if you look closer, there's freedom here. If everything follows consistent, predictable rules, then you're not at the mercy of chaos or bad luck. You're not a victim of some cosmic grudge. You can learn, adapt, and make better choices because you understand what's really happening. Spinoza's message isn't about giving up. It's about becoming empowered through understanding. Modern thinkers and scientists agree that understanding cause and effect reduces stress. When you know why things happen, whether it's a relationship ending, a downturn at work, or even something as simple as spilling coffee on your shirt, you feel less at the mercy of fate. Take that coffee stain. Your first reaction might be to blame bad luck, but if you look closer, you see the chain of events. Maybe you were rushing, maybe you were distracted. Once you trace the cause, you realize it's not the universe punishing you. And more importantly, you can see how to avoid it next time by slowing down, by paying attention. That's the core of Spinoza's idea. When you see the cause, you stop feeling lost. Spinoza believed this clarity could apply to everything, from daily annoyances to life's hardest moments. You can't control the weather, other people, or the flow of events. But when you stop blaming the world or yourself, you gain the space to work with what's in front of you. You move from asking, "Why me?" to "What now?" That's not resignation. That's agency. He made it clear that understanding the universe's rules isn't the same as being passive. Accepting cause and effect doesn't mean rolling over. It means working with the forces at play. Think about playing chess. If your opponent makes a clever move, you don't flip the board. You study the new position, think ahead, and make your move. Life works the same way. You can't control every outcome, but you can learn the rules and use them to your advantage. This is the real power in Spinoza's view. The moment you stop fighting the universe, stop blaming traffic, the weather, or other people for your frustration, you free yourself. You move from resistance to flow. Rain falls, gravity pulls, people make mistakes. When you stop expecting the world to adjust itself to your wishes, you find peace. And when you understand the causes behind what happens, you stop feeling like a victim and start feeling like a participant. But there's another layer to this. Even when you understand the rules, your emotions can still catch you off guard. Most people see emotions as unpredictable or overwhelming, but Spinoza saw them differently. The next step is to look at what your emotions are really telling you and how understanding them can put you back in control. Most people treat emotions like unpredictable storms, something you just have to weather and hope you survive. But Spinoza saw it differently. He called emotions affects, natural, predictable responses to causes, not mysterious forces. To him, emotions weren't your enemies or your rulers. They were messengers, signals that something in your environment or thinking needed attention. Emotions are like a dashboard warning light. They signal that something needs attention. The problem is, most of us never bother to check what's actually going on under the hood. Think about the last time you snapped at someone, bought something on a whim, or lay awake replaying a conversation. Did you ever stop to ask yourself why you felt that way? For most people, the answer is no. We don't question our emotions. We just react. These reactions turn into habits, and those habits start running our lives. You get angry, you lash out, you feel anxious, you freeze. It's as if your feelings are at the wheel and you're just along for the ride. Spinoza's approach breaks this cycle. He argued that emotions don't just appear out of thin air. There's always a cause, an external event, a memory, or maybe even a misunderstanding. If you can trace an emotion back to its source, you can start to loosen its grip. Without this understanding, you're at the mercy of whatever feeling happens to show up. You become a slave to your own emotional patterns, repeating the same responses without ever knowing why. Here's the key. Emotions aren't here to control you. They're here to inform you. If you ignore them or let them drive your actions without question, you end up stuck in the same loops. But if you pause and ask, what is this feeling trying to tell me? You start to gain leverage over your own mind. It's not about shutting down your emotions or pretending you don't feel things. It's about seeing each emotion as a clue, a piece of data you can use. Modern psychology backs this up. Research shows simply naming what you feel can deflate its power. When you say, I'm angry or I'm anxious, you create a bit of distance between you and the emotion. That distance lets you look at what's really happening. Why am I angry? What set this off? Suddenly, you're not just reacting, you're investigating. This small shift turns an overwhelming feeling into something you can manage. Take anger, for example. Someone cuts you off in traffic and you feel your blood pressure spike. The automatic move is to lash out or stew in your frustration. But if you stop and ask, what's really going on here? You might realize the anger isn't about the other driver at all. Maybe you're stressed about work, or you're running late, or you're carrying tension from something else entirely. Once you see the real cause, the anger starts to lose its grip. You're no longer fighting a phantom, you're dealing with something concrete. This process isn't just about feeling better in the moment. Spinoza believed that understanding your emotions is the foundation for better decision-making. When you know what's driving you, you're less likely to act on impulse. You can ask yourself, is this reaction helping me or just repeating an old pattern? Over time, these small acts of awareness add up. You start making choices that reflect what actually matters to you, not just what your emotions demand in the heat of the moment. Consider jealousy. You see someone's vacation photos and feel a pang of envy. The surface reaction is to judge or dismiss them. But if you trace the feeling back, maybe you'll find it's not about their trip at all. It's about your own sense of being stuck. That realization gives you something real to work with. Now you can ask, what would make my own life feel more fulfilling? Instead of spiraling, you find a direction. Spinoza's point isn't that you should be cold or detached. He knew emotions are a part of being human. The goal isn't to silence your feelings, but to understand them well enough that they don't run your life. When you treat emotions as messengers, you move from reactivity to agency. You can feel anger, sadness, or fear, and still choose your response. Over time, this self-awareness becomes a kind of freedom most people never experience. So the next time a strong feeling hits, pause before you react. Ask, what's this emotion trying to show me? Don't judge it, just notice it. The more you practice this, the more you'll notice a shift. Emotions become less like storms that sweep you away and more like signals pointing you toward what needs attention. But there's a deeper layer to all this. Once you start seeing your emotions clearly, you're forced to confront a bigger question. If you're not simply following your feelings, what's really guiding your choices? And what does? It actually means to be free. We tend to equate freedom with endless choice, but Spinoza argued that's an illusion. The common idea is that freedom means doing whatever you want, whenever you want. Spinoza saw it differently. He believed real freedom isn't about breaking all boundaries or chasing every whim. It's about understanding why you want what you want in the first place. The key isn't having limitless options. It's having the self-awareness to know what's driving your choices. And if you're honest, how often do you stop and ask yourself where your desires actually come from? Think about the goals you set.